Good evening all, I hope you're all doing well. Welcome back to the channel, proudly sponsored by betting.co.uk. So I'm just back bringing you some golf selections for this week's tour events. We've actually got two events to turn our attentions to in this episode. We've got the PGA Tour where we have the Sony Open over in Hawaii. And then on the DP World Tour, we had the very first event of the season. We've got the Dubai Invitational. So I've got a small preview there as well. I've got one selection for you for both of these events. If you'd like the full list of my selections, you can come over and join the group chat using the link in the description below. But we'll start off by taking a look at the PGA Tour. We've got the Sony Open here. It's at Wailea Country Club over in Hawaii. It's a par 70 over 7,044 yards. And I'm going to be playing 8 places for my selection in this week's event. It's quite a nice looking golf club, this one. It's not overly difficult. It's very different to the course that we had at the Century last week where there was loads of roll off the tee. This is more of a sort of a plodded course. You don't really want to be taking your driver out too often here, although there are 2 or 3 holes where you can benefit by cutting a few corners, but of course then there's a bit more risk and reward that comes into play. There were a few players on my radar for this week, but the number one selection that I've come down for this week on the PGA Tour is JT Poston at 33 to 1. Now, I did actually back him a few times last season, and he actually impressed me more and more as the season went on. And I know he was a little bit disappointing with the way he finished out a couple of tournaments, but he's actually come out this year and started pretty well. He played quite nicely again last week, finishing tied 5th in the Century, and I think he can actually just benefit and improve on that again this week. The field doesn't look overly strong. He definitely, to me, looks like one of the best valued players this week. He's seriously starting to find his form early this year. And I just wouldn't be surprised to see JT Poston pick up one of these events in what's probably a lesser quality field. But he's definitely a player still on the up, and I think he's got the game for this course as well. If you're one for the stats, then what you would probably require most this week is probably good iron play. It's not a necessity, but you're not going to find yourself with too many birdie opportunities if you aren't hitting those irons well. But of course, good putting is a must as always. That's JT Poston at 33 to 1 each way with the 8 places available for the PGA Tour's Sony Open. Then we move on to the DP World Tour. We've got the Dubai Invitational, and I'm much more excited about this event. We've got a really, really good golf course. And as I mentioned quite a lot of times last season, I think we've actually got better courses over on the DP World Tour. A lot more you can look into to try and find players that are better suited to the courses rather than on the PGA Tour just having these birdie fest sort of events. But Dubai Invitational, it takes place at Dubai Creek Resort, a par 71 over 7,059 yards. And we're absolutely in for a treat. It's a really good looking golf course here and going to be very, very tough as well. You are going to find some good scores for the players that are playing the course well, because you are going to need a little bit of course management. And it's got a very unique finishing stretch of 17 and 18. Now, the reason being, if you play these 2 holes in the morning, it is actually going to be downwind, so everything's going to be in your favour. But if you play these 2 holes in the afternoon, you've generally got wind into face, so it's going to be a very, very different sort of couple of holes to finish out those rounds. And you're going to have a few players a little bit twitchy coming down 17 and 18, especially on the final day if you're in contention. So you're going to need a player with a lot of bottle. You're going to need a player that's got plenty of distance here as well. I actually do think that it's a bit more of a requirement here. You're probably going to have a little bit of advantage if you're hitting the fairways off the tee, especially if you're getting the big stick out on a few of these par 5s. But I've only got the one selection for you this week. Rory McIlroy's ever so short in the betting. I don't want to get too involved trying to find some good value for the place money, but I do have one player which I think suits this course very well indeed. If we take a quick look, though, at the 18th hole, going down the left-hand side and the right-hand side of the fairway, you've got water left, water right. You've also got water short of the green, but you've also got water on the left and right as well. So it's a very, very daunting finishing hole, and you can get there in 2 if these players nut their drives off the tee. You can leave themselves with a pretty decent 3-wood in, providing, again, that the wind isn't too much into face at the same time. But those hitting the greens more often this week are probably going to be the ones that are scoring the best. And again, that little bit of length is probably going to be a big advantage to those players as well. So my selection for the DP World Tour's event on the Dubai Invitational is going to be Jordan Smith, each way at 25 to 1. He's a player I really, really like, Jordan. He may only be progressing slowly, but he's always at the top level. He's got a fantastic swing, a really good tempo. And I don't think it's long till he finds himself another DP World Tour title. He's as good a ball striker as anyone out there. He really is a sort of similar player to Rory McIlroy. Of course, not quite at the same level, but he's still improving. He's definitely a player that as well seems to play quite well in the Arab Emirates. He does actually have some really good form out there by winning the Ras Al Khaimah. Plenty of distance off the tee. I think he can start quite well this week. If he's played enough golf over the Christmas period and New Year, then hopefully he's going to start in really good fashion. He's a very determined player as well, and he's surely got the game to be up there for some of the best players in the world. So at 25 to 1 in a field of only 60 for this week, I think Jordan Smith's a really good bet each way. Okay, so there's the 2 selections for this week. Again, don't forget you can come over and join the group chat using the link in the description below. And you can also find some free bets courtesy of Coral. And you can also find my column over on better.co.uk. All the links are in the description below. And I'll see you all real soon.